As the sun rose on the day of Jay and Pamela's long-awaited wedding, excitement buzzed through the air like a gentle summer breeze. Every detail had been carefully planned, from the elegant floral arrangements to the perfectly curated playlist that would set the tone for their special celebration. The venue, a charming garden estate adorned with twinkling lights and lush greenery, was ready to welcome their closest friends and family. Among the many cherished traditions they had chosen to incorporate into their big day, one stood out as particularly unique. Cheddar, their beloved golden retriever, would serve as the flower dog. With his fluffy coat and ever-wagging tail, Cheddar had become a fixture in their lives, and it only felt right that he play a role in their most important moment together. But before the festivities could begin, there was one final task to complete: finding the perfect outfit for Cheddar to wear down the aisle. Jay and Pamela had always envisioned him in something elegant yet comfortable, a blend of sophistication and whimsy that reflected both his personality and the joyous occasion. They wanted an ensemble that would make him stand out without overwhelming him, ensuring he remained the adorable ambassador of love he had always been. As they prepared to embark on this light-hearted shopping adventure, anticipation filled the air. After all, selecting the ideal attire for their four-legged best friend was not just about aesthetics. It was about celebrating the bond they shared and making sure Cheddar was every bit a part of their happily ever after. With a list of local boutiques tucked under her arm and a playful grin on her face, Pamela eagerly led the way as she and Jay set off on their mission to find the perfect outfit for Cheddar. Jay, ever the practical planner, had already done some research online, jotting down store recommendations and noting which shops carried pet-friendly formal wear. Still, he couldn't help but chuckle at how excited Pamela had become over the idea of dressing up their golden retriever. "I mean, we're getting married, and you're more focused on bow ties than our vows," he teased, nudging her playfully as they walked hand in hand toward the first boutique. Pamela rolled her eyes good-naturedly. "Excuse me, Mr. Future Husband, but Cheddar is walking down the aisle with us. He deserves to look as good as we do." She paused, pretending to be deep in thought. "Maybe even better. Have you seen how photogenic he is?" Jay laughed, shaking his head. "All right, fair point. But let's try not to spend half our savings on a tiny tuxedo, okay?" Their banter continued as they stepped inside the first shop, where rows of tiny dresses, bow ties, and custom-embroidered vests awaited them. The boutique owner, a cheerful woman with a poodle perched on her shoulder, greeted them warmly. "Looking for something special for your pup?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with amusement. "Oh, absolutely," Pamela said, clapping her hands together. "Our golden retriever is our flower dog, and we want him to look absolutely adorable." Jay leaned in, whispering, "Adorable? Or overdressed?" She shot him a mock glare before turning back to the boutique owner, who had already begun pulling out options. "We've got some lovely options here: tiny tuxedo sets, flower-studded collars, even little crowns if you're feeling extra fancy." Pamela gasped. "A crown? Jay, we have asterisk to consider it." Jay raised an eyebrow. "Only if he earns it by walking the aisle properly. No distractions, no sniffing people's legs." The boutique owner chuckled. "You two are going to have so much fun with this." Indeed they were. As they browsed through the outfits, trying to imagine Cheddar in each one, their laughter echoed through the shop, setting the tone for what would surely be a memorable experience. With a handful of outfits laid out before them, Jay and Pamela eagerly reached for the first option: a miniature tuxedo vest paired with a tiny bow tie. As Jay carefully fastened it around Cheddar's broad chest, the golden retriever wagged his tail enthusiastically, clearly enjoying the attention. However, as soon as the snug fabric settled into place, Cheddar let out a soft whine and began pawing at the vest. "Oh," Pamela murmured, watching as Cheddar wriggled uncomfortably. "This might be too tight." Jay crouched beside him, scratching behind his ears. "Poor guy. He looks like he wants to escape." He quickly unfastened the vest, letting Cheddar shake himself free with a happy bark. Pamela giggled. "Okay, scratch the tuxedo vest. Let's see how he does with something a little looser. Next, she picked up a soft lavender collar adorned with delicate satin flowers. Slipping it gently around Cheddar's neck, she admired how the pastel hues complemented his golden fur. This time, Cheddar didn't protest. Instead, he simply tilted his head, as if contemplating his new accessory. "I think he likes this one," Jay observed, smiling. "He's not trying to remove it with his paws, which is a good sign." Pamela beamed. "And look how cute he looks. It's elegant but still playful, just like we wanted." They snapped a few photos with their phones, capturing Cheddar's proud pose. Even the boutique owner peeked over, nodding approvingly. "That collar really brings out his coloring. You two have great taste." Encouraged by their success, they moved on to another option. A small flower-studded harness designed to hold a basket of petals. As Jay fastened it onto Cheddar, the golden retriever sniffed curiously at the woven basket attached to the front. Then, with a sudden burst of enthusiasm, he took off trotting across the boutique, dragging the harness along as if he had forgotten it was even there. Pamela clapped her hands together. "Oh my gosh, look at him go!" Jay chuckled, chasing after him. "At least he doesn't hate it, but I don't think he realizes he's supposed to carry flowers." After retrieving Cheddar, they examined the harness more closely. While it seemed sturdy enough, Jay frowned slightly. "It's cute, but I feel like he's more interested in playing with it than actually wearing it." Pamela nodded thoughtfully. "Yeah, maybe it's a little distracting for him. We don't want him forgetting his job and running off mid-ceremony." Laughing, they set the harness aside and turned their attention to the next option, a simple white bow tie attached to a soft blue collar. Sliding it onto Cheddar, they both grinned as he looked up at them with his usual bright-eyed expression, seemingly unfazed by the addition. "He barely notices it's there," Jay said, adjusting the collar slightly, "and he looks dapper as ever." Pamela sighed happily. "I think this might be the one." Before making their final decision, they considered one last possibility, the crown. As soon as they placed it atop Cheddar's head, he shook it off with a bemused snort, sending it tumbling across the floor. "Well," Jay mused, picking it up, "maybe the crown was a little too much." Pamela laughed. Fine. We'll save the royal treatment for another day." After trying on several different styles and seeing how Cheddar reacted to each, Jay and Pamela finally gathered the remaining options and examined them side by side. The boutique owner watched with amusement as the couple debated their choices, holding up the outfits against Cheddar's fur and snapping more photos to compare. "This one definitely looks the best," Jay said, pointing to the soft blue collar with a white bow tie. "He doesn't seem bothered by it, and it matches the color scheme of the wedding." Pamela nodded, tilting her head as she studied Cheddar. "Plus, it's understated but still elegant. He looks like a well-dressed gentleman instead of someone trying too hard." She glanced at the other options laid out on the counter, the abandoned tuxedo vest, the flower-studded harness, and the rejected crown. "But I have to admit, I love the idea of the flower basket. He looked so excited when he ran off with it." Jay chuckled. "Yeah, but we need him to walk slowly and drop petals, not sprint down the aisle like he's competing in the Puppy Olympics." Pamela sighed dramatically. Fine. No basket. But can we at least get the flower collar?" She gestured toward the lavender collar adorned with satin blooms. It looked so pretty on him, and he didn't mind it at all. Jay considered this, then smiled. "All right, that works. We can have him wear the blue collar with the bow tie during the ceremony, and switch to the flower collar for pictures afterward." The boutique owner clapped her hands together. "Ooh, that's a brilliant idea. 2 looks for the price of 1. Pamela beamed. "Yes, that way he gets to show off a little variety." She knelt beside Cheddar, scratching behind his ears. "What do you think, buddy? Ready to be the best-dressed dog at a wedding?" Cheddar responded with an enthusiastic tail wag, nearly knocking over a display of pet accessories in the process. Jay laughed. "I think that's a yes." As Jay and Pamela left the boutique, arms full of Cheddar's carefully selected outfits, They couldn't help but marvel at how seamlessly their plans were coming together. Each detail, from the venue decorations to the music selection, had been meticulously arranged, but nothing quite compared to the joy of knowing that their beloved golden retriever would be by their side on their big day. The thought of Cheddar trotting down the aisle, proudly adorned in his stylish collar, brought smiles to their faces. Beyond the excitement of the wedding itself, what made the moment truly special was the sense of unity and happiness they felt as a trio. Cheddar had always been more than just a pet. He was family, a constant presence through every chapter of their journey together. Including him in their wedding wasn't just a novelty, it was a heartfelt tribute to the bond they all shared. Watching him react to each outfit, from his playful escape from the tuxedo vest to his content acceptance of the bow tie, reminded them of how much joy he brought into their lives. As they walked hand in hand, bags swinging between them, Jay squeezed Pamela's fingers gently. "I think we nailed it," he said, his voice warm with affection. Pamela leaned into him, grinning. "We did. And tomorrow, when Cheddar walks us down the aisle looking absolutely adorable, it's going to be perfect." Tomorrow couldn't come soon enough.